Here we go then. They're under starters orders, the lights are on, there's a creep, somebody's going to have a jump start.
Yeah.
That is Marcus Uriarte. He just moved far too early. He may as well come in for his drive-through right now. What a disaster for the young Spaniard who ended up who was on the middle of the front row of the grid.
Yeah, complete disaster there. That was so obvious, and he decided then, well, I may as well just go for it, but he will have a ride-through penalty, which will, of course, put him to the back of the pack.
Absolute disaster. Just nerves, I'm sure, for the 14-year-old Spaniard. He's been knocking on the door of a good podium finish and just hasn't managed it, and he's not going to manage it this afternoon either, I feel.
Yeah, you can see it was very difficult for a rider now, number 89 there out in front. He's got to get his head down and do whatever he can, but he will be notified. He'll have 3 laps to come in. If he doesn't come in, then he will be black flagged and disqualified from the race, but he'll know that it's a jump start, and we'll be notified on our monitor pretty soon. And he'll get flagged with his number, and he has to come in within 3 laps.
But obviously he knows that already anyway. So we'll ignore him for the second, and it's Tadej Skrig and Noguchi who are battling effectively for the lead. They're behind him, and that trio have already broken away from the guys behind as they in fact close in on Uriarte, because of course Uriarte now his head's gone, I'm sure, really. He knows that the race is lost, so they've already caught him, even though he had a few bike lengths lead as he went off the line. So down into the second to last corner it is. There's the group of 4 of them.
Already Acosta at the front of that group, I think, number 37.
And out onto the start and finish. Uriarte has been given officially the drive-through penalty, and as you say, Neil, it is Pedro Acosta who came off the 3rd row of the grid, and he's already picked up the lead ahead of Tata and Noguchi. Uriarte, who will soon have to have a drive-through, Skrig.
Carlos Tatai, number 19, was in second place there, but you can see he's just been passed by the Japanese rider Haruki Noguchi, and on that long straight, and this we will see all the slipstreaming coming into effect. 99 there, Tatai in 3rd position.
So hard on the brakes again into the tight right-hander at the top end of the circuit, and
Noguchi going to the front.
Yeah, and you have your own notification there as Uriarte has made the jump start, and Noguchi on the 56 machine has the advantage over Pedro Acosta. So determined is Noguchi. He's fallen a couple of times, not entirely all of his own fault. He's got bumped, so he was, and then we'll see a replay of the start.
Well, yeah, got it completely wrong, and then thought, well, I'll just go for it anyway. Best thing he can do is get in as soon as possible, get it out of the way, because you just never know if a race is red flagged and restarted, then he'll get a second chance of it. Highly unlikely, but best thing for him is to get out of the way and get back out on track.
Right, still 16 laps to go then, and we'll see whether Noguchi can make a break for it. He's so determined, as I say. He's had a couple of falls. He so needs that first Rookies Cup win. He's very much feels it's overdue himself. And we've already got a faller. Oh, two fallers, in fact. Oh, dear. Well, they're obviously okay. They're already on this, walking to the scooter to get on their way back to the pits.
Carlos Tatai's got a ride-through penalty. Did he jump the start as well? Was he maybe he was spooked by Uriarte?
Yeah.
Well, that's a disaster.
Here's the replay of two of them to go down.
Number 34 there, that was...
Yeah, 34 is Mario Aji, the Indonesian 15-year-old, so he's very unlucky. We're back with the leaders then. It still is Acosta. And as you say, so now that really does throw the championship open, of course. If Tatai has to have a ride-through penalty, he'll be lucky to pick up any points this afternoon. It's just what the Cup needs, in fact, for the script anyway. So Tatai will be notified of his ride-through penalty. At the moment, he's battling with 37 Acosta for the lead. The 99 machine of Cup leader Tatai. 56 is Noguchi. The Japanese there pulls alongside him. It's 3 abreast as they go onto the brakes now into the right-hander. And you're on board with Carlos Tatai, looking back at Acosta. And Acosta looks over his shoulder to see there's a whole pack behind him. It's Noguchi that's actually leading now, ahead of Tatai with Uriarte in 4th place. Yes, Tatai jump start. You're right, Neil. He must have got spooked by Uriart doing it and sort of followed him. Wow,
yeah.
my goodness.
Of course, we were looking at that replay. We were focused on the Uriart, but Tatai obviously just got sucked into it as well.
So Noguchi it is that leads now. From Tatai, who will have to stop. Acosta, who doesn't stop. Uriart, who will have to stop. Fell on 5. He's effectively in 3rd place ahead of Skrieg, Billy Van Eerd and Gavin Plants.
There's one rider coming in there. I take it it's Uriart. Saw him just stick his foot out to come in the pit lane entrance.
And now Tatai leads. Let's hope he sees the board, that he doesn't get a black flag. He may not have realised he jumped too. Red, there is the board. It's clear as day. Right through for 99. That may have been a bit of a surprise to him. But he's already gone back into 3rd place at the top of the hill. Noguchi has the advantage over Acosta. And it's Tatai who looks over his shoulder to see that the whole pack is there, including poleman Skrieg and number 5, Laurent Furlong.
And it really is the whole pack there, and there is Uriart, and he has to be careful not to exceed the pit lane speed limit as he comes through there, or he will get another ride through penalty. And
of course they have a switch on the handlebar, as all the bikes do, so he just has to switch that on, and that controls the revs as they go away. So right, 37 and 56, that is Acosta and Noguchi side by side. A great battle between these two already, with that pack of, what is it, it's at least 10, 12, 14 guys behind them.
Carlos Tatai, he's had an immaculate season, really. He hasn't been off the rostrum, off the podium in any race this year, so disaster for him. That's the last thing he would be expecting.
That's right. He did have the mathematical possibility of taking the cup away today, certainly this weekend, but that's all been put into question now, of course, by the fact that he's unlikely to score any points at all. Very interesting. So, Acosta, Noguchi. Tatai is still there. Let's hope he's seen that warning. A Skrieg 11 fell on Billy Van Eerd. Van der Gerberg, who qualified so well in 8th, he's up into 9th place in the midst of that pack.
Fastest lap of the race so far too, Carlos Tatai, 141.5, and they're well outside the lap record. Lap record is a 139.3, so lots of time still to come.
And a whole slipstreaming session going on there. Van der Gerberg, fastest lap in 10th place. The youngster, as I say, is the youngest man on the grid this afternoon, because the youngest man in Rookies Cup isn't actually here this weekend. That's Tyler Scott. Unfortunately, he has a finger injury that's keeping him out of action this weekend.
Yeah, and Van der Gerberg, that's one rider that we've been keeping their eye on. As you said, very young, relatively inexperienced, comes from a family of racers. Father Jürgen and, of course, Uncle Patrick, both really good Grand Prix riders in their day. So big hopes for the future for Zonta, so it'll be interesting, and he really has come up to the plate this weekend. And
there he is, the 84 machine, right in the midst of that pack, and as nobody's breaking away, there's really no reason to rush to the front of it just at the moment. Still 13 laps, or 12 and a half laps remaining, and it's Acosta that has the slightest advantage at the moment.
Lorenzo Fella, number 5 there, having a look down the inside of Carlos Tatai. Carlos Tatai may well be backing off a little bit. He's going to have to come in pretty soon.
So that double left-handers, that's a very interesting section, and they just flick it right and run downhill now to the last 2 right-handers, and changing every few metres there. 56 is the Japanese Noguchi.
Tatai not coming in this lap. Yeah, 2 left-handers there, only 2 left-handers. Oh, he is actually, yeah, just missed him in the back there, so he will do his ride-through penalty.
Right, and he's bound to come out at the back, and that means he's going to be sort of 21st, 22nd. There he'll be back with Uriart battling at the back of the field there. What a disaster for him. Anyway, Acosta, and up into, there is the 11th, the pole man, Alex Skrieg. He's now taking a run at the front with Acosta, and I wonder if as they'd agreed in practice to help each other, they're going to try and do the same thing here. Noguchi is 56, the Japanese that's with them. There's the finish of the ride through, and here's to watch the start. Oh yeah,
good move. Yeah. And
rolled.
some of that he's obviously just thinking, yeah, it's time to go, and and I would say he would blame Uriart there for that problem.
Yeah. Okay. Right with that lead pack, and that is a lead pack of 12 riders. Even now that we have lost Uriart and Tatai out of it, and Interesting to see Baltus there up into 6th place. He didn't qualify that well. He was down in 12th place with Baltus, but he's obviously finding a bit of slipstream there in amongst that pack. And that's not worrying, his size is not worrying him too much.
That's right, and if he can get behind a couple of riders, then you actually do get a double slipstream, so that'll help him. And if he can circulate in that pack where he doesn't want to be is right at the front, that's where he would have a disadvantage. There is Carlos Tatai on track now, and he is back there. Where is he in?
Yeah,
oh, yeah
20th, yeah.
He's
in front of Uriart by the looks of it.
Yeah. No, we've got 13th on there.
Oh, but that's, I think that was the last
before,
lap.
Yeah, so I'll have to reset himself, yeah.
Right, there is Tatai, number 99. He's already got his head down, trying to see if he can pick up a point or two. It'll be interesting. And there's the live championships. Cooney's not in this, of course, because he's injured. But obviously that has changed the script somewhat. And there's still 11 laps to go here this afternoon of Rookies Cup action. Plenty of action, and it's Billy Van Aert who's now picked up the lead. Superb stuff from the Australian. He only qualified down in 11th place, middle of the 4th row, but the young Australian has picked up the lead now. And of course he was robbed of a podium at the Saxon Ring in race 2 by exceeding track limits, but he's determined not to do that, so we haven't had any notification of track limits so far, and the guys are all been behaving itself. But what's superb to see Billy Van Aert up in the lead of this race ahead of the Spaniards Acosta and Skrieg, and Salvador, of course, is another Spaniard, and he was up into 4th place. He's now just dropped down back to 8th.
And that was Haruki Noguchi tapping his seat there, tapping his backside to get some riders to follow him. He's basically saying, just hang on behind me and I'll pull you up to the front group. But I'm sure they've got other thoughts. And you see how easy it is to exceed track limits here. The red and white paint's fine, but if you get out on the green stuff, the green concrete stuff, do that 3 times and then you will be given a penalty. And it's quite, sometimes you're pushed out, sometimes you just end up out there, but you have to be so careful.
We're seeing a steward's warning incident involving 35 Agi and 45 Rouget to be reviewed after the race. They were the fallers that we saw. And he's just saying here, that's exceeding track limits. So let's hope they get their act together and stop that, because that can really wreck the result if they have to start going a long lap. Anyway, 29 is, of course, Billy Van Aert. He's leading and trying to keep it on the paint and off the green.
Yeah, young Australian there. I think we've got high hopes for him. Obviously mentored by Jack Miller. Jack Miller keeps his eye on Billy and all any new tracks and things there. That is 89 there. Uriarte and Tatai having their own little battle. Not where they thought they'd be in the race, because they're down in 19th and 20th. Fastest lap actually on that lap to Uriarte, so yeah, he's pushing hard.
I suppose it's possible. I don't know. Let's see how far they are actually behind the
15 seconds.
Yeah, no, they're going to struggle to get a point, aren't they? But you never know. They'll keep trying, I'm sure. Right, back with the leaders now. Skrieg, Van Aert and Acosta. Noguchi, Baltus in 5th place there. Acosta has the advantage over Skrieg. Van Aert pushed back to 3rd place. What a great battle this is, still with 10 laps remaining. Super close stuff around those left-handers. And that is 50. That is Jason Dupasquier. I was talking to Jason this morning and he said, no, I'm really going to try and jump to the front right from the start. And I was talking to him with rider coach Danny Ribalta, and Danny said, no, you don't have to jump to the front right at the start. You've got to be at the front on the last lap, not the first lap. And let's see if he can manage that.
Yeah, it really is a free-for-all now. We've taken 2 of the main men out of the equation, and lots of podium, well, 3 podium places obviously up for grabs, but lots of riders that could claim their first podium here.
So Skrieg still with the advantage. Billy Van Aert pulls alongside him on the 29 machine. I think he has the lead on the brakes here. Yes, he does. Australia it is that leads.
Number 7 here having a bit of more. Barry Baltus, the Belgian rider. And also Max Cook hanging on to that group as well, number 30, right at the back there. But we've seen Max Cook in this position for a couple of races, a couple of rounds, and able to fight his way to the front. Again, Max is one of the bigger riders, probably one of the more heavier riders, so has got a bit of a disadvantage on the straights.
But you can see just in that shot alone just how quickly leads change and positions change. It's now Skrieg back with the advantage, and Billy Van Aert was leading across after the line. He has gone back to 4th place.
Huertas, who's down in 14th position, he's been given a long lap penalty, so I guess he's been exceeding track limits too many times.
Right, so then we're on board with Tatai now, the onboard camera looking back at the man who shared the front row with him, Marcus Uriart. And there they are, still with 9 laps to go, trying to make up ground. And as Neil said, Tatai has the fastest lap of the race so far, but he's still got a lot of work to do.
Yeah, 13 seconds, so 2 seconds closer to the front man, the Screag, at the moment. So they are making progress, and if they are swapping places, pulling each other along the straights, then there's no reason why they can't get into the points.
Well, exactly. You know, they've got no reason not to do that, have they? They're both clever enough to say, well, OK, well, let's just share the slipstreaming duties here. Right, there's that lead battle. What a stupendous battle it is here on a beautiful afternoon in Austria. And across the line, once more, that freight train across the line. And it is Noguchi that has the advantage over Costa, Billy Van Erde, Screag, Fallon, Dupasquier, Salvador. Wow, what a great battle it is. And here a little bit further back through the pack, there is 66 machine, is Adrian Huertas, and he's in his battle of his own with Philippe Ton and Marev, Hernandez, Detweiler, and there's a long lap for the number 66, Adrian Huertas. Unfortunately, he's not had a very lucky season, but he's only himself to blame for that one. He was doing it all the way through practice as well, lost a lot of lap times from that through practice, and has now been penalised in the race.
No, I shouldn't be chuckling because it's not fair, but it just seemed like he disappeared off into a bit of a scenic route there for a while and then appeared back on track, and that was a long, exceedingly long lap, so big disadvantage there.
But of course that's going to put him perhaps into the clutches of Tatai and Uriart. We'll see whether that happens towards the end of the race. So okay, back again with the leaders. 37, Pedro Acosta, Noguchi, Van Erde, Screag, Fallon, Dupasquier. Well, okay, Neil, if you have to stick your neck out, we're only just half distance here of the 17 laps. Who looks good to you?
Well, yeah, the Japanese tend to be really good at Red Bull Ring. We've seen Sasaki and Masaki and so many good Japanese riders here, so whether he's been talking to his countrymen, but I think if he had to put money on anyone, it would be Noguchi, and yeah, he's at the front just now. I'm sure he will swap positions a few times, but he tends to be strong in the closing laps. Yeah, and
he's bright enough. He's got a lot of racing experience. I don't think he's going to be one of the ones exceeding the track limits, although I saw some back in the group there.
Oh, that was Fallon hit the back of another rider there. He just got caught out in the brakes. Whether he didn't get back his gears, but he certainly wasn't scrubbing off enough speed, but very lucky there.
Well, let's see how we see a replay of that. At the moment, you're on board with Carlos Tatai, looking back at Marcus Uriart, picks up the slipstream, pulls alongside.
Yeah, that works, and this will help. They're obviously passing each other, but it will help the lap times. So there goes
Uriart.
Because we have there's cameras on every single position on the grid, so that was pretty obvious.
No doubt about that. And of course, it's not just that they're slipstreaming each other. Of course, they're pacing each other, isn't it? Keeps the interest going. Just droning around on your own for sort of 15 laps can be pretty tough.
Yeah, you see Tatai there actually. Uriarte nodding to Tatai to come past and you have a go at the front, so they're not trying to hold each other up, they're trying to do the right thing and help each other.
Okay, well, they're lapping in the 140s, well quicker, a couple of seconds quicker than the guys in front of them. Right, back with the leader then. It's Noguchi who has the advantage, but only just from Pedro Acosta on the number 37 machine. And Van Erde is there, is a Screag, Dupasquier, Salvador. And a Screag it is that picks up the advantage, just momentarily at least, and into the last of the right-handers. Oh, and that is exceeding track limits there. You've really got to watch that, Billy. That's Billy Van Erde way off on the green there.
Yeah, and that wasn't like he was pushed out there or it was unavoidable. He just got in there hot and used all of the track and a little bit too much of the track. So these will rack up. Race direction will be watching that, so he has to be careful.
And you're on board now with Jason Dupasquier on the number 50 machine in 6th place. 5 machines ahead of you as you go through the slight flat out left kink and up to the second of the tight right-handers, late on the brakes. It's still a Screag with the advantage. Van Erde, who's got to watch those possibility of the long lap for exceeding track limits. He really does have to watch that.
Yeah, there's no one obvious stands out that can win this race, but there may be a few in that front bunch that just know they've got a little bit extra, a little bit more to give in the closing laps. So I suspect maybe Billy Van Eert or Noguchi, they will be the guys that you see. The lap times are all static at the moment, but I think we'll see some personal best lap times in the last 2 or 3 laps.
Right, and up the inside, the 37 of Pedro Acosta. Chasing the leader is Billy Van Eert at the moment. Acosta's gone past Skrieg, and really, you know, it'd be no use in making any plans for a last lap at the moment while there's sort of 12 guys battling for it, but someone's got to turn up the wick and at least split it up a little bit if anyone's going to exercise any sort of planning towards the end. Otherwise it's every man for himself, isn't it?
At some point, and there are passing opportunities all the way down to the very last corner here. You can certainly block and pass, so nothing is not done till it's done here at the Red Bull Ring.
Okay, 5 laps remaining. If anyone's got anything, if they can actually got anything up their sleeve, they can increase the pace. We're likely to see it over the next couple of laps when they really want to try and stretch the advantage. It's Van Eert who has the lead at the moment, just over Acosta. Dupasquier is easy to pick up because he's that bright pink helmet back there in 6th place.
Well, maybe they are thinking about turning things up a bit, because Van Eert and Acosta just dipped into the 40s, their fastest lap of their race so far.
So Skrieg has picked up the lead as they come out of the top tight right-hander, and he's way signalling to somebody. Whether anyone's going to really take any notice.
Yeah, pretty much any of this. The top 7 are under a second, so there really is the top 7 or 8 could easily still get on the podium.
And the track temperature, I think, is up higher than it was yesterday, but we really don't expect any really disastrous problem with tyre wear. These Dunlops really do go the distance quite well.
No, not at all. The medium compound Dunlop slicks, they like temperature. They're pretty tractable, and pretty much they've got a big window of temperature, so but the hotter the better, yeah, and very unlikely. There's no real hanging corners here where the tyres take a lot of hammer. There only is 9 laps in total, 7 rights and 2 lefts, and it's quite gentle on tyres.
Well, look at them. They're sort of 5 abreast. They're all changing position as they go into the first of the last 2 rights and down the hill to the beautiful Austrian red and white corner there, and out onto the start and finish. Just hanging on to the...
Billy Van Eert very close to the green concrete there. He has to be so careful.
Yeah. That's right, and Dupasquier, you can see him on the pink helmet, the number 50 machine. He was briefly looked as though he's up into 3rd place, but suddenly he's back to about 6th. Absolutely superb stuff with 4 laps to go. Salvador is 3rd. He's had a really good run this year. He was very, very consistent, and until sort of he was unlucky in race 1 at the Saxon Ring when he fell. But he's been right there. He's had a 2nd, a couple of 4th places, a 5th. So, 37. That's Acosta. He's already won at the Saxon Ring. On board with Dupasquier in 4th place there.
Downhill off camber, tricky one this. You hear him going back all the gears, back to 2nd gear, and then all the way up through the gears round this fat. We've got number 11.
That is Alexis Skrieg, the pole man. The pole man.
I'm not sure he's been down or he's just run off the track, but the bike's definitely dead. So maybe took the front at this right-handed downhill. Oh, he just ran wide, just pushed out wide and off went to the gravel. Looks like engine stopped. So.
Oh, what a disaster, because that's dropped him right. Be lucky to be able to get that started from there. So there's the pole man, and first man and second man and third man. The front row of the grid have all either stopped or had a drive-through penalty. Well, what a turnaround for the race. Absolutely incredible. Just 4 laps. It's only going to be 3 laps remaining now of Red Bull MotoGP Rookies Cup action here at the Red Bull Ring. And across the line with a slight advantage for the first time is Billy Van Eert, the Australian. But the others are going to pick up the slipstream from him. He hasn't made a breakthrough. And Noguchi, the Japanese, is in 2nd place, all desperately trying to keep off that green stuff. 30 there at the back of that group is Max Cook in 11th place. Still an 11-man battle for the lead. And here are 99 and 89. That's Tatai and Uriart, and they are at the moment where they're still 18th and 19th.
Yeah, they're 2 7 seconds off the point, so I'm not sure that's going to happen.
Well, they're doing everything they can, and some of the people are helping them, or trying to help them, of course, by Skrigo running off the track. But anyway, they've just got to keep plugging away, and anything can happen. There's still 2.5 laps remaining, with Billy Van Eerd leading from Noguchi. Has swapped around. The Japanese now has the advantage on the 56 machine. And if anyone's going to make a break for it, now is the time with 2.5 laps remaining. I'm sure Noguchi will now put the hammer down and give it everything to see if he can get away at the head of this field.
Yeah, through the double left-hander, through the right kink, and then heading down to the last couple of corners on another lap. And yeah, then we are down to 2 laps to go, and now they really do have to pull the pin, turn up the wick, whatever they have to do, whatever they have left. I suspect Noguchi is just thinking about that right now, so he really has to dig in. Difficult from the front here as they come on to complete another lap and then on to that long straight after turn 1.
And at the back there's more people running off the track.
Yep.
I saw Barry Baltus on the green stuff there, and Noguchi hasn't been able to get away because the 37 machine of Pedro Acosta is right in his wheel tracks. Billy Van Eerd on 29 is there. David Salvador on 38 is in 4th place. Gavin Planks up to 5th, ahead of Zonta van der Gerberg in 6th place.
Well, Noguchi's going to do well if he can get up this long straight into the second corner here, and he does. He's managed to keep Acosta behind him this time.
So 56 for Japan. He and Pedro Acosta just eking a little bit away as they go side by side into the downhill right.
Yeah, pulling a little gap there to 3rd position. Billy Van Eerd, is that Billy Van Eerd that's in 3rd, number 29? Yep,
ahead of Gavin Plants. Van der Gerberg up to 5th, ahead of Fellon, Salvador. And 38, that's a technical problem for David Salvador. What a disaster for the poor lad. My goodness, we see very, very few technical problems here in Rookies Cup, but that is pretty much certainly that's what's happened there. And David Salvador out of this battle. So he'd had such a consistent season, but now no luck here in race 1 at the Red Bull Ring. So now down the hill into the last right-hander and out onto the start and finish. They will start their last lap now. Just one final lap. It's Noguchi that has the advantage over Acosta. That's the battle there for the last of the points for 14th. And
Tatai in that.
Huertas was there. He had the long lap. Tatai's there, so he is picking up points.
Yeah.
They have made the jump. So Tatai now has points. He's up to 14th place. Huertas is 15th. Uriart is 16th. So all that effort has paid off for Carlos Tatai and Marcus Uriart. And we're on the last lap with the lead group. It's Noguchi who has the advantage just over Acosta. Billy Van Eerd in 3rd place. Gavin Planks up to 4th, ahead of Fellon du Pasquier, Van der Gerberg.
Acosta had a look here last time, managed to pull it off this time. Downhill, he has to get that thing stopped, get it turned in, get off the front brake, let the front tyre load up and get some grip.
Well, Noguchi has the advantage. No, Acosta has the advantage over Noguchi. There's plenty of passing opportunities still left in this race.
Noguchi's good through this next lap.
And of course what we don't know is how many times these leaders have already exceeded track limits and whether they can afford to do that at the last corner. They don't know that either.
Yes.
So they've really got to try and keep off the green stuff. Otherwise we'll have a reverse of the result even before we get on the podium. And 3 abreast now as they go down the hill. Up the inside is a 29. It's Billy Van Eerd. Billy Van Eerd, the Australian, who has the advantage. But Noguchi is going back in front. Who's going to cross the line first? Is it Noguchi? Is it Acosta? Van Eerd is out of it. I think it's a Noguchi. No, is it Billy Van Eerd? No, I think it's Acosta. My goodness, a photo finish. Acosta, Van Eerd, Noguchi. Well, they're all changed just in the last 2 corners. What a fantastic finish. And here is the cup leader. Of course, he's still the cup leader. It's Carlos Tatai. He's going to pick up a couple of useful points for 14th place. 14th for Tatai. Uriart picks up point for 15th. So they went from the front row to the back, but they have picked up a couple of points. Well, superb stuff, but what a finish. A classic Red Bull Rookies Cup finish at the classic Red Bull Ring.
Well, that's predicted. All of these guys at front dug in the closing laps, but it comes down to, and it's a great thing, it comes down to that last sector, these last double rights where there's passing possibilities and even slipstreaming to the start-finish line, so it really is anybody's.
Well, and here you see confirmation at the bottom of your screen. Batelli and Cook exceeded track limits, and I think they were a couple of the guys who are way off on the green stuff on the final corner. They get a 3-second penalty, so that's going to, you know, drop them way down the top 10. But you know, I guess, you know, if you're not on the podium, that doesn't matter too much. It'd be disappointing, but you're giving it all on the last lap, and that's what happened. There's Max Cook down in 10th place there, ahead of Dajira Sako Marev, the Russian, Philippe Tonkalas, Tate 14th. And Marcus Ariat with the last of the points. And bad luck for Adji and Rouge, who came together, but we're notified that there's no further action to be taken between the two of them. Just considered a racing incident, unfortunate. And here's confirmation of the points situation then. Carlos Tatai is still with a handy points lead, but it is now down to just under a double race win, where it looked like, you know, we're talking about could he even wrap up the championship today, but it's still very much in play. We've still got 4 races, and that's 100 points, and he now only has a 49-point advantage. So it's all to play for tomorrow afternoon here at the Red Bull Ring. Or the Dakar now, of course, it's called. So great to see a man who's on top of the world in the dirt, giving out the trophies to the young men. Pedro Acosta, the winner. Here is second win of the season. And it does put him in with the possibility still of battling Carlos Tatai for the Red Bull MotoGP Rookies Cup.